Hello YouTube, this is Western Kansas Prepper here with another addition to my continuing review of the show Doomsday Preppers. And in this installment I will be reviewing persons who were connected to the, I believe, 5th episode of the show, which was titled, I believe, You Shall Not Fear, after a biblical passage. And in this show there are 3 preppers that they review. And like previous editions here, I will review them in the order in which I'll rank them by virtue of the show they were in, and then I will put them on the big board. Although I used to use this dry erase board here as my big board, but now that there are 18 people on the board, I could not fit it on the board, so I will be using a list I made up on my computer. Anyway, this lady I have christened the Mormon Academic Chick. She apparently goes to either BYU or some other school in Salt Lake City. I guess BYU's in Provo, isn't it? So whatever school's in Salt Lake City. And she likes to chat about these issues with her friends at school, and she has her own academic theories about why the economy is going to collapse and those kind of things. So like some of the other preppers, I mean, they ask her what's her view or what's she prepping for, but she pretty much sticks to that theme throughout her show. So unlike some of the other people on this list, I mean, she may really believe that that is why she's prepping and the only reason she's prepping. I don't know. Excuse me, it's one of those kind of nights. Anyway, so how did she do? Well, it was kind of nice, that she had her food built up. I mean, she's definitely put a lot of money into that. She's got a lot of freeze-dried supplies to last. She has I think she said she had a year's supply of food, or maybe a 5-year supply of food, with all that freeze-dried stuff that'll last 20 years. So good for her. She's prepared for that food shortage for sure. She did not appear to know much about guns or anything like that, at least to start off the episode. She was like, I got my stun deal, I'm ready to go. And then the guy correctly told her, you better hope we're this close then, or you're not going to be able to do shit with this. So, she apparently is adjusting to that. At this point, though, her preps pretty much seem limited to food and learning about weapons. So, even though she's got a nice store built up of food, and she's got bug-out bags too, by the way. She had several different varieties. She has one on the road. She has one, when she's traveling. She has whatever. She's always ready to do that. I don't know what all's in her bag because we didn't really have time to go through that. But, so she had some preps that were good. And, it seemed like some more basic sort of side preps you would need, and they point out an obvious one, when they're done, is, hey, you have some water here, but having a water filtration method would be good to add to that. And not only that, she probably needs some other basic type of preps, tools and those kind of things, alternate weapons, signaling, communications, all those kind of things that she doesn't seem to put a lot of thought about yet. But she's a lot like our friend, who you remember from a long time back, from the very first episode, who would be the party cat chick there. Is a little like her in that she's willing to learn, so that's good. And by the way, this picture I found of her is not from the show. I could not find a picture of her from the show on Google Images, so I sort of hunted her by name and prepping, and I found this YouTube video she had made following up her show appearance. So that's where I found this picture. So that's my first contestant there. I'll rank her 3 of 3 in the show. And that brings us to this guy, who I'm calling the Woodchucker. Now, this guy, if you didn't know much about prepping, or you were just being introduced, you might be really impressed by Mr. Woodchucker. You might go, my God, this guy can cook roadkill. He can, live off the land. I mean, he's awesome. He's got his cabin in the woods in Maine. He's definitely ready for anything. He's off the grid. Those are all great things, and I'm giving him some credit for that. And I think I've complained before, about the show and its tendency to try to exaggerate things and make people into kooks, The problem with Mr. Woodchucker is that he, unlike some other people on our list, he appears to actually be a bit of a kook. There's one son he has, doesn't seem too into it, but he has some ceremony where he gives them his umbilical cord and stuff. That's a little creepy, honestly. But, I'm not here to judge how creepy people are. I'm here to judge how prepared they are. And, he's not a guy like your Doris Day of Doom but this guy's living off the land, who does not believe in guns. Doesn't have any guns. He says, I got my defensive skills, I got my tomahawks, and, the son's apparently learning to use those for close hand-to-hand combat purposes. And, of course, where I got the title from, he's got his wood to chuck, which is where they're literally chucking little pieces of wood at squirrels and stuff, or trying to practice so they can throw them at squirrels or whatever if need be. I think they make the comment that that's as good as shooting somebody with some type of caliber handgun, which I don't think that it is. But in any event, the people who, much like Miss Doris Day of Doom, it's nice that he's got this little ethical code and all this. And honestly, I don't think Woodchucker is a prepper. He doesn't really belong on this board. He's not a prepper. To me, he's a survivalist. He's a pure survivalist. And he really illustrates the difference between being a survivalist and being a prepper. Preppers, I think, are going to use the resources that are around them to the best of their ability, to maximize their capabilities. And Mr. Woodchucker is not going to do that. He's going to just use what's at hand. And that's fine, but when a couple of truckloads of guys with, assault rifles come at him, chucking pieces of wood is not going to, do much good. Now, it may be hard-pressed to have anybody do very well in that situation, but even a couple